Okay. It just told me stream was ended by host, so that was really weird. I may have to. Oh, no, not all caps. Okay. Oh, there. Yeah, you joined in. Okay, yeah, I restarted. So, okay, that was really weird. We will restart and hopefully get through it all. If it doesn't get through, then I'm just gonna like pre-record it and upload it. It seems to be it's raining a bunch here. Sometimes that interferes with my internet. Um, I think in the next 6 months we're supposed to get FiOS fiber optic internet out here instead of satellite internet. I think that will help in the future. Anyways, okay. Let's get my screen back over here. Cool, cool. Okay. So restarting because the other bit won't be uploaded. In the past weeks, the past days this week, um, welcome to day 5 of our Attitude Detox Challenge. In the past 4 days of this challenge, we have talked about covering our basic needs. We have talked about romanticizing everyday routines. We've talked about gratitude in stressful moments. We've talked about our nervous system regulation. And we're going to build upon that today by talking about our own expectations of ourselves and the non negotiables. Okay, today will be a heavy focus on setting your non negotiables. And this is sort of an exciting part for me because very often we tend to place our worth on the things we do. And I think if we can reframe what we're looking at and deciding that less is enough, it's such an amplifier of your esteem. And it really helps counteract that voice in your head that's constantly telling you, like, oh, that wasn't enough. Today wasn't a good day because you didn't get enough done. Um, and, anyways, we're going to get into that. First and foremost, I will reiterate and I want to invite everyone who's in the community to join me in the membership. In the month of December, we're going to do a 30-day consistency challenge. I'm getting the alert that my internet connection is unstable again. Oh, that's fun. We're going to do a 30-day consistency challenge to keep up on these sort of concepts that we've been applying this week. Really keeping that mindset right, having that group sort of support and accountability, I think is super helpful, especially when we're talking about simplifying yet amplifying our life. And I really look forward to seeing who all will be joining me on that journey. And again, that's in the membership, which if you have any trouble joining, just message me and I will show you how to get, you know, get there. I believe if you just click on like the membership and then like if you're not in it, it should just give you a screen that prompts you to join. Anyways, and that one is a $22 a month investment, but you also get everything that's in the digital vault, which is over a $75 value. Plus, you get monthly master classes and neat things like the 30-day consistency challenge that's going to come up. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in with the things that we expect of ourselves. All right. I think too often we place a lot of value on the things that we do and the things that we don't do. And we have this misconception of intertwining our worth in with our accomplishments, which is very silly and very wrong. We are human beings, not human doings. We are here to be, not just to do stuff, right? Anyways, so I have this way of kind of looking at this where it does take some journaling and some reflection time to think about putting put someone else in your shoes. All right, as you're going through your day and you're starting to feel like you haven't done enough, or we're thinking that we're such a failure because we didn't do those 3 things on the list that didn't get finished. if you think about like, okay, well, if I put my best friend, my sister, my neighbor, just that other mom at play group, if I put them in my shoes, how much grace would I give them? Would I be saying the same thing to them, that they're not enough for not accomplishing that task? Or would I be comforting them and reminding them, like, oh, you know what? You're actually a really fantastic mom because, yeah, maybe you didn't do that, but it's because you were busy doing this, which was way more important. Like motherhood tends to get in the way of like the domestic housewife thing. The home management, that's what it is, home management. Running the household is a lot of work. And I think too often we tend to make ourselves feel bad because motherhood gets in the way of that. But which is really more important in the long run? You will always recover from your home. Your home's not going to have lasting trauma from you forgetting to run the dishes one night. You know, your home isn't going to remember that you forgot to do something. Being there for your kids, being there for the people in your life, being there for yourself, because your own nervous system is going to remember when you didn't take care of yourself. Your own nervous system is going to remember when you didn't get a good night's sleep. That stuff's going to be carried in you, and it's going to add to the stress, and it's going to add, and it's going to pile up that way. It's way better to let your dishes and laundry pile up, because one day you can usually knock those out, get those done. People can be recruited to help. We can delegate. We can get that done. And if you remember that going through your days, that the house can be recovered at any time. And often we tend to get overwhelmed. The overwhelm of the house tends to be in your own self. It tends to be more stress related and maybe some of the ADHD paralysis kind of thing going on. And that's not because the house is so out of control. It's because you're walking into a situation that you've convinced yourself you don't know how to handle. All right? You're letting yourself get overwhelmed and overstimulated by the environment. When the environment it's doable. It's always going to be doable. You just have to remember that you can do it. And you don't have to do all of it every single day. All right? So I do want to remind you all that in the free resource library, there is a productivity. Oh my gosh, my words. Today is such a day. Wow. Productivity mindset item in the free resource library. That is a workshop and a workbook that goes along with it that I taught to a group of like mompreneurs a while back. But I packaged that up and put that in there in the free resource library for you guys. And that very much goes into the concepts of what we expect of ourselves, right? So I do encourage you to look into that, to go deeper on that concept there. And I do, wow, getting kicked off threw me off so big. I do want to mention that when it comes to our to-do list, men and women are different. Because there was this study that I find very interesting and super believable, is that they asked a group of women how many items are usually on their to-do list, and they said 26. And then they asked the women how many things they actually tend to get done on that to-do list in a day, and they all said 6. And then you can imagine, how does it feel to get 6 out of 26 done? It doesn't feel very good. That's not even half. That's a quarter. That's 25%. That's a failing grade. That is an epically failing grade, right? So how do you feel accomplishing 6 out of 26? Not so good. I didn't get enough done. That's what you tell yourself. All right. Now here's the problem, is that they asked a group of men the same thing. And men, when asked how many things do you put on your to-do list, they said 6. And then they asked the men how many things do you complete in a day, typically, and they said 6. So you see, men are going through the world with this concept of, oh, I did 100% of what I wanted to do today. And we're going through the world with the concept of, I did 25% of what I wanted to do today. And yet, we did the same amount of things. This is where we have a big gender divide. This is where men get their audacity, and this is where women get their low self-esteem, their feelings of not enoughness, our poor self-worth, because we're intertwining worth with the things we do, our productivity, and we think we're not doing enough. But we are. We just decided we needed to do an unrealistic amount of things. So if we're keeping that in mind, 6 is probably the number of things that'll get done in a day. And if you're a mom with little ones at home, it's probably less because they're going to need 1,000 things done from you. One time I actually did this exercise where I was wondering, where's all my time going in my day? What am I doing all day? And I just opened up my notebook and I kept a chart and I wrote down like a timestamp for every single thing I did. And every time a kid interrupted, every time a kid needed a bottle, every time a kid needed a diaper change. Because this was a while back. I had babies and a toddler. I think I had a preschooler, a toddler, and an infant at the time. Because it was a few years back. But I tracked everything I did in a day. And I was busy all day long. I did not accomplish the things on my to-do list. But I was constantly being pulled in different directions, and I tallied it up, and it was like 9 hours of like motherhood and housework, like in it tasks that were spread throughout my waking hours. I was like, okay, I felt like I didn't do a lot, but I was doing a lot all day, and now I can see it on paper. So that's an interesting exercise to actually do for yourself, is to see where you're actually spending your time, to think about like how many hours does this really take from my day. But also it can help you if you're in a season of like distracting yourself and you're spending a lot of time doing very unproductive things, convincing yourself I'm going to sit and rest, but really you're going to distract yourself from the things you need to do. I have definitely been in those seasons too, and checking my screen time on my phone is something I never want to do again because of that. Yeah, that was not fun. I think I spent over like 9 hours on my phone one day. Like just distracting myself from doing the things I needed to do. I was multitasking every single thing because I didn't want my brain to like go through a growth spurt, you know? And that's normal for that to happen every now and then. Don't feel bad about it. But we don't want to stay there, right? So let's talk about the non-negotiables. Let's talk about what the bare minimum effort really looks like. Okay. So, your non-negotiables are just the very bare minimum basic things that you actually have to do in a day. So, as not to overwhelm yourself with 26 items on your to-do list, we want to find 3 non-negotiable tasks that have to get done every day in order for the next day not to be absolute chaos. Okay? The non-negotiable tasks are the types of things that you would do if you only had time to do 3 things. They're the types of things that you would ask someone else to do if they were, subbing in for you for the day. Right? Because you're not going to ask someone else to do every single thing you've convinced yourself you need to do that you never actually get done. You're gonna limit that down to a top 3. Like, oh, okay, if you're here to help me, I'm going to ask you to do dishes, laundry, clean up the floor. For me, I am in a transition time, and that's totally fine to be in a transition time where I am changing my non-negotiables. And I'm now having to build a new habit of what that looks like and what that feels like. And I'll tell you, I'm not 100% on target with it. I'm not doing it 100% yet. So I'm in this with you, getting started on shifting my non-negotiables. Hi, baby. So that's something that we can be accountable together and consistent together with, and knowing that I'm not years ahead of you. When you tell me that you didn't complete your non-negotiables for the day. Because I'm shifting mine to reflect a little bit more of what my home currently needs and feng shui needs. So like in feng shui, they say, I think it's like if your kitchen and your entryway are clear, it's something like good fortune or it creates like a flow of abundance or something. And I'm like, you know what? Entryway to kitchen really does need to be clean because for me, that's like a center shot through my house. And if the kitchen's clean, I don't have a big problem cooking. Everyone's happier when the kitchen's clean, right? It's the heart of the home. And the entryway just gets so cluttered with shoes. So I'm trying to make this a new priority of cleaning these two situations. And then keeping laundry from piling up with the needs to be folded list pile, the needs to be folded pile, because that can get really out of hand. Anyways, so your non-negotiables are whatever three things come to mind when you sit down and you think like what has to get done today in order for tomorrow to feel like a good day. So yeah. These are those three things. So these are not things that you wish you would do. Like in a perfect world, they're not unrealistic things. These are just going to be three things. And the more simple you can keep it, the better. I kept it very simple for a very long time. Making the transitions a little tricky, and that's fine. That's normal. Like, don't sweat it if there's this learning curve and this practice period before it becomes second nature and automated. But that is the goal, is to practice it enough that it becomes a habit, that it becomes second nature, that it becomes an automation, so that these three non-negotiable tasks just get completed every day without thinking about it. It's just part of your everyday. And if you can link them in with anchor tasks, that is especially beneficial. So anchor tasks are things that are always going to happen, based like no matter what, whether it's by nature or by your own habits. Things like the sun rising or, sun setting. Those are anchor times. Ew. Okay.
I got a flea.
Oh. It's already dead. Oh, don't play over there. That's where the kitties were. Okay. Anyways. Distractions. Okay, you can go back on that couch. Alright, don't roll on the floor anymore. Yes, we want these things to become automated, second nature. And then it becomes more simple to pick three priority tasks every day. The three extra other things to do in a day, which brings you up to 6 doable tasks. But your first 3 are going to be automated. They're going to be every day. And then your next 3 will be those alternating, transitioning, like, oh, I saw that I needed to clean out my car today, or today's a mop the kitchen kind of day, things like that. So what I want you to do is go ahead and define what your non-negotiables are, what your bare minimum of what you need to do to expect from yourself each day. And then have a simple method of rewarding your behavior. Even if it's just like reminding yourself, oh, that's a good job. All right. And also by viewing, it's also kind of a reward system to view everything else you do as extra. Like, remind yourself that you are doing extra. This is more than enough. And getting in the habit of reinforcing that belief of I am doing enough and I am doing more than enough. Because I think it's much easier to untangle your worth from your productivity when we are not in a mindset of I'm not productive. Right? Okay, so that's your action task, is to define those 3 non-negotiables. And if you're in the membership, I will see you over in a VIP in like 2 minutes.